Smallville, sex cults. Is this word association? No, it's an actual headline from the New York Times, the paper of record. Allison Mack, who you may know from Smallville, now you know her from big time sex cult. She has been accused of basically wrangling people to be part of a sex cult, which is under the umbrella of this thing called NXIVM. Keith Raniere was the head of it, is still the head of it. You can go on their website and snoop around. She apparently was a key recruiter for sex cult DOS, or Dominus Obsequious Sororium, Latin for master over the slave women. And then she apparently, according to this giant report from the New York Times, she oversaw and facilitated the branding of women with like hot irons. And there's a lot more we'll get into, but first, thoughts, 5 words or less.
Oh, Lana, no. This story is insane.
Puts R. Kelly to shame.
Are there legal sex cults? That's my question.
They're called swing parties.
Right. Well, no. This is, I'm like.
Well, just my brief explanation of my 5 words was that Lana was played by Kristen Kruk in the show.
Kristen Kruk, yep.
Yeah, and apparently, although she has denied it on Twitter, she's super denied on Twitter. Her name has come up with the reason why Allison Mack maybe knew about the sex cult or something.
Yeah,
again, she's totally denied it.
Here's from, yeah, go for it.
Apparently she was in it, but she said she was in it before they started doing all the crazy stuff. So she's like, I was in it, but it wasn't crazy when I was in it, and I have nothing to do with all the bad stuff that happened. And she introduced Allison Mack to it, apparently.
Look, if we were talking about this off camera. If you are a person of sound mind and body, and you're wanting to belong to something, you're gonna figure out, you're gonna see the ins and outs of it sooner or later. Like the whole Kristen Kruk thing. Like I don't know if she didn't know, but I'm leaning to the fact that she kind of knew.
She had an idea.
Yeah, she had a.
You don't just know a little bit about the sex cult. Here's from The Cut. It says Kristen Kruk. I don't know, that's how she spells it. Introduced Mack to NXIVM, NXIVM, which
not the drug.
Yeah, no, not NXIVM. The side effects of this one are starvation diets and weird sex acts.
And branding.
While Kruk admitted that she was involved with a sex cult, she claims that her involvement predated, interesting use of the term, which almost sounds like predator, predated the ritual brandings and other humiliating practices to which the cult subjected women. I went on the NXIVM website. It is just like a bunch of weird platitudes with such.
Can you explain the legal standing of them?
Sure, why not? So NXIVM is, according to their mission statement on their website, and if you go to their website, it's just like, it looks like a generic like front for like
a self-help like.
Yeah.
Yes, but it also, the way it's printed out is like it feels auto-generated. Like back in the day when like Ali G used to be a thing, he would like set up corporations and put up dummy websites that all look the same. It's just like a generic background image of like rolling hills, and it's like NXIVM, about us, company, whatever. And it says NXIVM is a company whose mission is to raise human awareness, foster an ethical humanitarian civilization, and celebrate what it means to be human.
This literally sounds like Scientology's mission statement, literally, like self-realization, self-help, like raising your level of consciousness. Or it literally sounds just like it, except it involves apparently branding and all these weird.
And that's what's so weird, Daron. You're so right. When I thought that, I thought, who would allow? Like, if I'm going to go join Equinox Gym. And they're branding people, I'm out.
Well, no, that's the thing about this, is that even the lady who's involved said it didn't start out as that. Like it starts out as, you go to a meeting and it does sound like a self-help thing, and you meet all these women and you're like, oh, well, this is a group I could get into. Slowly but surely they start doing more and more weird things, and you're literally like brainwashed into believing that this is how that you are going to like raise your level of consciousness and help yourself.
But what people are they targeting? Because like I stand by this, you guys. I'm sorry, and maybe I'm being a little biased, but I don't think anyone that has some level of confidence and self-esteem would allow that to happen.
Well, yeah, I think things like this attract a certain kind of person, like maybe a person who's searching for some sort of religion, some sort of purpose in life. Like I think that it does attract a certain kind of person, and I agree with you that it does. If you are not necessarily of sound mind, but if you are like a confident, like know your morals, know where you stand person, it would be hard in my opinion, to get sucked into something.
I agree.
Like this.
But I think that you'd be surprised what that searching for purpose and meaning, how it can manifest itself in so many different people. I recently was doing some research on the Heaven's Gate cult, and I was just really surprised at the people that were involved in that cult. Some of them would totally fit what we would think of as someone joining a cult. Drifters, people that were always searching. But then some of them had stable jobs, had families, and had, you would think, everything in place that would say you have a purpose, you feed your kids, like be at home and have your job. And so it is interesting. Joining a cult is so much more complex and nuanced than just like, here we are in this cult.
But I doubt that they're like, hey, we're a cult.
Right,
You want to join a
That's
cult?
the thing.
Those things where everyone ends up poisoned and dead, waiting for the apocalypse on a comet. No, it's just more of like, have you anyone watching The Americans?
No.
In The Americans, this isn't really a spoiler because it happens very early on, but like there is a, they have like these communist Russian spies who are living in America, and then they start going to essentially like a self-help thing. And like, I remember in the 80s, there was this thing called Fast Track. It's like some of them have them for like business, advancement, and they're just used to sell like a whole thing of audio tapes that you would put in, and it would be like, and another one's like Crossing the Chasm. There's a fine line between like self-help organization and like cult. And I'm sure this guy, I mean, the other people that are mentioned in it are Grace Park and Nikki Klein from Battlestar Galactica.
And Hawaii Five-0.
Hawaii Five-0, Grace Park, good morning.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know how people could get involved in it. And then this guy says he distanced himself from it. He says that this specific subset was run by the women. It was called the sorority. He's like, I feel, this is his statement from his website. I feel it's important to clarify the sorority is not part of NXIVM and that I am not associated with the group. I firmly support one's right to freedom of expression. So what the sorority and any other social group chooses to do is not our business so long as there is no abuse. And then he says like our experts and forensic psychiatrists of international repute, psychologists and ex-law enforcement say members of the sorority are living, healthy, happy, better off, and haven't been coerced. It's just
but that totally contradicts
everything that the people who were in it and got out have said. And what's really scary is that some of the women that have got out have gone to authorities and been like, hey, like there's a sex cult and they're literally branding people and starving women and making them do weird things, and authorities are like, sorry about it, haven't really put forth the effort to investigate what the heck is going on.
It sounds weird because a sex cult sounds like, ooh, that's kinky. Ooh, it's a sex cult. It doesn't sound like it's a cult like Jim Jones or Jonestown or
like for kids. Like there were kids at Jonestown, right? Jonestown, this guy ended up going from like Northern California to random ass wherever it was.
French Guiana.
French Guiana, and everyone drank the Kool-Aid. When you hear drinking the Kool-Aid, it's people that actually went through and drank the poison, and that's it. But like, last question is like, do you think it's up to, just short answer, like is it, I feel like, no, we don't have enough time, there's 30 seconds. But do you think, I feel like if these people get like brought in and fall victim to this, at a certain point it's kind of your fault.
Agreed.
Like you gotta stand up for yourself and you gotta, fight back against this. Grace doesn't think about this, doesn't think this.
I disagree.
Why?
Somewhat. For reasons such as, I think that it doesn't happen overnight in the sense of we're doing this heinous act in our sex cult. I think that it's more sinister and it's more of a slow burn, and I think they prey on people who are vulnerable. And I think that also when people get so invested and involved in groups, cults such as these, a lot of times you are they've isolated you from everyone else, so you feel like you have nowhere else to go and you're sort of like back against the wall.
That's true.
And I just think that, so you find yourself in a really tricky position, and I think just saying it's your fault, you should have gotten out, it feels a lot like victim blaming. Now, no. But I just think that obviously, like in a perfect world, totally get out. But I think that I want to show compassion for people who've been in the position of feeling like they have nowhere else to go, and I want to like the evil people are the people in the cult leader members. And I think I nailed that answer. So
you did, because
I wouldn't even respond if I were you, Brett, because that was it.
Grace, you had said initially when we were talking about this that it's more nuanced than us saying, hey, just get out. But I think what Brett's saying is that there comes to a point where you have to not everyone, but some of these women know better and they're making a choice to stay there, right?
I'm not victim. Victim blaming is a rhetorical approach to what I'm saying. And I'm saying that, like, if there's blackmail, if it's like, here, I need to take naked pictures of you so that, and I don't know if this was the one, there's been so many like weird naked picture stories. There was like the governor of Missouri had one too. But like, if they're saying, give me naked pictures of you so I can blackmail you, if they're using the information that you're confessing as part of this, as the early steps against you so you'll stay in the sex cult and not do that, that's definitely inappropriate. I think if someone's suffering from a specific kind of actual mental illness and you're taking advantage of that, that is before the certain point aspect I was talking about.
Right.
But like, if there is a world in which this guy is able to just make people feel like they're happy by telling them to do these things because they want to follow so much,
right?
That's not his fault. I mean, yeah. I've already said the reasons where it's the situations in which it's bad.
The qualifier sort of thing.
But like at a certain point, like, oh God, this guy was so magnetic and charismatic, and before I knew it, I was just like throwing myself at him. Oh, take him down. No, that's your fault, bruh.